Hi, I'm Julia Taylor. I am here at the Salem Methodist United Church, and I'm here today with Jimmy McFarland, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the church and some of the unusual features. So, you had said that you'd been coming here since...
Started here in 1950.
1950.
When I first started here, about 95% of the people was my kinfolks, and we've done some improvement on the church since then. We put in Sunday school rooms, we put in these windows, and it used to be heated by coal stoves, and I don't know exactly when they changed over. We've put in a concrete bridge in the last way back in the 50s, I think, early 60s when that was done. And we've done a lot of improvement on our church.
So you said that was your family connected to the windows in some way?
Yes, my uncle, Everett T. Kelly, used to run a Georgetown paint and glass in Georgetown. Put these windows in back in either 55 or 56.
And you said that you have some kinfolk that are actually buried in the back, right?
Yes, my grandmother and grandfather on my dad's side. I think it was about 20-some years. My grandmother was buried back there before I was ever born.
The Salem Methodist Church was first organized in 1823. Its charter members were William Banks and his wife, William Boyce, Obadiah Ellis, and John Rowlands. Now, the original church, it was 25 by 30 feet, and it was a log structure. But according to the history of Bourbon, Scott, Harrison, and Nicholas counties, this frame was actually doubled at one time. Now, the writing of this is 1882. In 1895, that building burned and was actually rebuilt in 1899. So this is the structure that we see today. I thought it would be good to talk a little bit about the area where the Salem Methodist Church was built. Now, according to this source, they suspect that the Salem Methodist Church is probably the oldest church in that area. And that was built in the Littlesport precinct. So just a little bit of information about it. Most of the historical record starts at 1790. Doesn't mean there weren't people there before, but we just don't have a lot of information about it. So we know that Colonel John Stone settled on the Little Eagle Creek. And the same year, 1790, Daniel Gano also settled on a farm. Some of the earlier people to move to that area were John Harwood, William Boyce, and Obadiah Ellis. So a lot of the charter members were also some of the first people to move to that area. So this is a map of Scott County. It dates to the 1870s. And you can see here, you should be able to see the Little Eagle Creek. You should be able to see a note about Salem Church. And just take a look at the names of other people that are nearby. The Warings in particular are important to note because they actually gave the land where the church is located, the church and the graveyard. The Waring family can be found throughout the historic record. They also were, for example, James Waring was the superintendent, the Sunday school superintendent in 1882. Another family you see frequently is the Penn family. The T.J. Penn family donated the altar for the church, which at the time was $112. If you are researching some common family surnames, that would be the Warings, Penn, Cook, Bailey, McFarland, Griffith, Barnett, Mullenix, and there are many, many others. So it was somewhere around 1934 that Brother Dean and the Salem Methodist Church built basically the first bridge to the church over the Little Eagle Creek. Now, before that, whenever the creek had flooded, apparently the church would actually meet in the Biddle store. We had talked a little bit about one of the neighbors that had to help with the bridge. Do you mind to share that story?
Well, that was Joe Emmons. He pulled horses, and we used to have 2 wooden bridges over here. And there was one small one, I think it was about maybe 10 feet wide, 10 feet long, and the creek run underneath of both of them. And that small one, if it got up real, water got up, it'd wash it out and hang it up down in the bridge going across the road down there. And he'd go down with his horses and pull it back up here and put it back across for us. He's done that sometime before we could get to church.
And it wasn't necessarily clear, what creek was it?
It's Little Eagle.
It is the Little Eagle, okay. Let's see. Honestly, that's really all I can think of. I'd love to get out to the cemetery and kind of look at some of the folks out there. But is there anything else about the history of the church we should know or anything?
Back the Penns and Warrens and the Jameses back in the early 40s and back in them days, that was some of the main people that come here, and it's a whole lot of people that's buried in our graveyard back here.
Yeah, I think that the Warrens were related to the land donation,
Yeah.
right?